Hey, everybody, it's Cindy here, and welcome to another episode of the Life Makeovers podcast. So happy you're here today. And I am so excited because today I have with me Mea Austin, who is a dear friend and fellow coach of mine. And I'm just looking forward to having a conversation with her. So, hey, Mea,
Hi,
welcome.
Cindy. It's so good to see your face and to talk with you and your audience.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. You're sort of every woman in I mean it. I mean, there's so much. You do so many different things. What do you want us to know about you? I mean, I feel like I know you well, but what do you want our listeners to know about you today?
I do a lot of things, but what I'm doing is right in sync with what you're talking about all the time, which is, I'll be 60 in April. My kids are 37, 35, and 32 or 3. Oh no, I'm not
Right
sure.
in there, right in the 30s there.
In the 30s, 4 grandbabies, and now I am really just doing the things that make me happy. I'm trying to create income sources by doing and having multiple sources of income, because that's what you need in today's world. But by doing what makes me happy. I also have stopped the 10, and well, it used to be 14-hour work days, and then it was 12, and then it was 10. Then when I became self-employed, 8, and now there are other things I want to do. I want to see my grandkids. I have a horse. I want to go ride my horse. So I plan around what I want to do and then figure out how to do what I have to do without running myself against a brick wall.
Okay, just stop right there because you
Okay.
just shared an amazing nugget, even through introducing yourself, right? Because what I hear all the time with women in midlife is they're either bored and don't know what to do with themselves, or they're stretched so thin still, they have no time for themselves. They don't know how to stop the people pleasing and just trying to be all things to all people, that kind of stuff. And it sounds like you're really living what I call a passionate life. So it's based on what you're passionate about, how you're living, spending your time, and how you're working, both. And that is very, very exciting. So, wow, I give you all my applause and kudos yet again. And just love hearing that. So, yes, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a grandma, you love horses, you love dogs. You love to exercise. You're a coach. You're a consultant. You're writing a book. I mean, you're a
When
Christian.
people say, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Do you have
What
time
don't
to
you
sit down?"
do? And do you guys still have the business? You and your husband?
Multiple businesses,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh
My
my goodness.
husband has an automotive shop. He does repairs and body work and some mechanical work, mostly body
Wow.
work. My husband has a trucking company, and we don't have any employees anymore. That got to be too much, but he runs a hot shot. That's one of our sources of income. Then we own an event space where my
Oh,
daughter also has a bakery. So I manage the event space, and he helps with cleanup and stuff with that. And then you mentioned fitness. My fitness business is called Shift Mind Plus Body because it's whole person fitness. So it comes with life coaching, because a lot of fitness starts, right? Yeah, it starts up there, and then you go down. And just a place where anyone can feel like they can do whatever they can do, and they feel accepted, and they're on a journey. And I have a group of wonderful people who are on that journey too. So it's a great group to be with. And then I do motivational speaking. That's one of my main gigs.
oh yeah,
It's
right.
the speaking, and I'm doing more of that now that COVID put an end to that real quick. I did wind up doing some Zoom, but that's not the same. So back to getting to be out with people, which I really, really love. And
Yes.
then the other big thing that I do, the reason, unfortunately, I was late for my call with Cindy today, because I am a predictive index consultant, which I use with both my life coaching and my executive coaching, which, like you were saying, people are people pleasing. And so one of the reasons I know how to be in my zone of excellence is that that's one of the tools that I use and coach with, is what are your preset preferences? Are you full of ego and you like to win and you like to go forward? Are you accommodating and liking to be part of a group or a team more? Are you social or are you more reserved? Do you like to go fast and methodically, or do you like to go slow? And then how important are the rules to you? Attention to detail. So I do a survey that flushes all of that out. And I know myself. I know my husband. And that just makes it easy to say, why are you doing something that's outside your zone of excellence? Stop doing that. And why do I keep saying yes? We can figure that out and dial into that and help understand. And as you and I have talked before, it's something that you have access to for your clients as well, if you so choose to get that same information on them to help you coach them. And I've done you a long time ago. You probably don't even remember. Yeah. So that is really, yes, the dots. So that is really, Cindy, what's allowed me to come to the place where I am, because that's what I'm telling other people, shift to doing more of the things that you love and you're good at, and shift away there. You don't have that obligation. There are probably other people in your life that have the right traits to do the things that you don't want to do. Let them do them. They will be happier. You will be happier. So it's especially important, even in a family dynamic, as a woman of age. I'll be 60 in April. As a woman of age.
Is that what we're calling ourselves now?
I don't know what the right phrase is. I'm trying to find a positive way. I used to like to tell people I'm elderly just because it was funny, and I teach fitness, and I'd be like, look, I'm elderly. You guys are in your 20s. What are you talking about? You can do this. I do it. I'm elderly.
You are age appropriate for a Perkins discount. That's what you are.
That's what it is. That's what I'm going to start saying.
Members of AARP, but
I could be
elderly.
Although I've opted out of AARP because they started sending me invitations when I was like 40, and I'm like, no, stop it.
No, it's 50 and above, isn't it?
Yeah. And then when I was of age, I'm like, I've shunned you all these years. I'm not getting on board now.
No, but that's a great thing. That's another example of not doing anything just because you think you should. You don't have to. The word no is an acceptable word in the English language. I love what you're saying here. So when you were growing up and you were watching the older women in your family, like your mom's generation, maybe your aunts, and even grandmothers, like what was your impression of what midlife would be like? Or do you remember thinking about, we didn't sit around as little 6-year-olds and go, gosh, I wonder what midlife's like. I guess I'll watch my mom. But I'm just curious what you
I did.
You did. Mea did.
Because my dad was 47 when I was born, and my mom was 44 when I was born.
Wow.
So I was 10 watching my mom actually try to do what 30-year-olds did.
Yeah. Wow.
And I remember thinking, this is what 30-year-olds do. How are you doing it? So it was like being raised by my grandparents in many, many ways, that more conservative view that generation has. So I was really aware of it, and I swore I was not going to put on weight. I was going to be young when I was old, and then I was going to have all my kids while I was young, and I could do everything that they could do. I could rock climb, I could bike ride, anything you want to do, I'm down for it. We'll jump out of an airplane. Heck yeah. That's what you want to do. We're going to do it. And so that's how that influenced me. And my perception of middle age was, you can't do much anymore. Yeah. You're too old. You're out of touch. You don't know the slang. You don't know what's happening. And so that's how that became me, that person that at 10, I said, I'm never gonna.
Yeah. And so you're rocking and rolling with that, aren't you? Because you're pretty cool. I think you're hip and happening.
Thank
The only
you.
thing, you called yourself elderly, which being your just like 5 years your junior, I will not adopt that with you.
But it's funny when you call yourself elderly to a young person, they're like, no, you're not, because they don't know how old you are and they don't think about it. The kids in their 20s and 30s don't think about that now. So just once you're beyond 30 something, in their eyes, you don't know how to use all the apps. You're elderly. And they get a kick out of it. When you call yourself elderly, they'll be like, yeah, you are. How old are you? And then when you tell them, Cindy, how old you really are, they go, really? But you
Yeah.
know how to use all the apps and you're so relevant. And it shocks them.
Yeah, I love getting the surprise looks when I tell my age and they're surprised
No,
by it.
you're not. You don't look. And then and they'll tell me how old they think I am. And I'll say, just a minute, I need to record this on my phone. Will you say that again so I can play it to myself in the mornings?
So, what I hope our listeners are getting from this is that age is
A number. A number.
It's a state of mind. We can choose our attitude at any age.
Yes.
And you are a living, breathing, hip hopping, skipping example. And you've stayed active and you've raised your kids that way. And wow. And you just keep going and going. You're like the Energizer bunny, right?
I
Only
have
better.
also, though, Cindy, learned to slow down because I can't do quite everything,
Yeah.
It takes me a little longer to come back if I, go to bed really late and get up really early. I don't just pop back into that.
Yeah.
So I do have to keep in mind, the pace that I think I can go in my brain and the pace that is best for me are sometimes different. And if I don't pay attention and respect the fact that I am indeed almost 60, just respect. I don't have to fall into that. I don't have to let it define me, but I can respect it in knowing that if I go too hard, I crash and burn. And I crash harder than I used to, and it takes a little longer to get back on my feet. And that I really need to, my thing this year is trying to get balance. Balance is my word for 2022.
How's it going? Got a few
I
weeks.
still struggle with it. It may be my word again next year.
Yeah.
Now that I'm allowing, I don't know how many other women out there can identify with this, but you did everything for everybody else. Probably many of you can identify with this. You spent your money on your kids, not yourself. You spent your time running hard. I mean, our kids raced and danced, and we were their coaches. We had the race team. I was the dance coach. So we did that with them. And things are just different now. I just have to, I have to be aware of that and respect that and give myself grace and give myself rest. So those are two gifts that I have to pay attention to and make sure that I'm delivering to me.
Beautiful. I love it. Now you may see I'm writing notes down.
That's fine. Yeah.
Because a couple days from now, after your podcast drops, another one will drop with me summing it up and sharing some nuggets. So
good.
So I'm taking notes some while you're speaking too. So wow, that's great. I love it. So giving yourself, respecting your age too and what it means for you sometimes, and taking more time to recover from a busy full day or full weekend, letting yourself rest, giving yourself grace, and and just working on that balance always. Like what's best for you is going to be best for everybody else, but how do we create that on a day-to-day level? So love all those points. Thank you so much. So now that you're where you are in your life, like what, as you reflect on the last 10 years or 20, I don't know, however long you want to reflect, what's been the most difficult part of midlife for you?
I've been thinking about that. And I think it really hasn't been difficult because of my attitude. There have been moments, don't take me wrong. There was the moment that everybody can probably identify with where the kids had all moved out and I came up to do something, get in a closet, and these were the kids' rooms and most of their stuff was gone, but there was a few things there. And I realized that I was done. Like whatever parenting I did that was good or bad had taken hold, and there was no more. Like there, I can't go back there. You can't wish you could go back, and that is a waste of energy and emotion. I wish I had, you know, if I'd done this, maybe my child would be different today. Some of that. Or I'm sure many of your followers and your clients can kind of picture this in their own lives as well, which is that you feel like you lose a little bit of relevance. Like your kids start to say, you don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, they start to parent you. Have your kids started doing that, Cindy?
I don't recall that at all yet. No, I don't think
How
so.
old are they?
They're
Oh.
27 and 25.
Oh, it'll come. I also have two very opinionated daughters like me who tell me what to do all the time. Yeah.
Tell you what to
It
do.
may be my very opinionated daughters who are now telling me what to do, but they do. Don't do that, Mom. Why would you do that, Mom? And so I've had to learn not to take that personally, but to pay attention, to hear the message. And then I take what I like and leave the rest.
That's part of that transition though, with the empty
It
nest.
is. It is.
Wait for that. First, those first few pangs of, oh gosh, like I'm
done. It's done. Yeah.
I hope I gave all the message
Yeah.
to give. When I was, I'll tell you a quick story. When I took my daughter to college, I was just beside myself. And she went to a college halfway across the country. So I knew I wasn't going to see her very often. We were really close. And we were unpacking her in her dorm room. And I just had to stop her. And I just said, Laura, do you feel prepared to be, to leave the nest, to be out on your own? Is there anything any questions you have? Is there anything I have?
In the dorm room.
Yeah, in the dorm room, there's parents,
just leave.
There's confidence. No, when she goes, well, gosh, Mom, can't I just call you? Like, oh yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah,
it's not like I'm never going to see you again. Right. Yeah, I get it. I've done that too.
Oh my gosh, but the panic set in. She's like, well, if I can call you, right? But there is that. And then now, and then you're saying, I love what you're sharing here about, the kids now coming around and like feeling they need to give you some inspiration about your home.
Oh, and that's not inspiration. I call it directions and instructions. They're not trying to inspire. They're trying to tell me what to do. Yeah.
That's part of that transition, isn't it? That they're adults, we're adults. And even though they're always going to be our babies and we're always going to be their parents,
the relationship,
the dynamic, there's an equality to it now. Like, I'm going to give you my opinion that they think, or that we'll give them theirs or whatever. So yeah, it's ironing all of that out is an interesting transition that a lot of people struggle with, but yeah.
And I still struggle at times. And the answer for me, and I've really been wrestling with this lately, is allowing them to be exactly who they are.
Absolutely.
And figuring out how I'm going to be exactly who I am, and you may or may not like that. And I don't have to change. I'm your mother. You're alive. I like manage to keep you alive.
Yeah.
So not saying that to my children when they tell me something that I think is stupid is like, why are you telling me? I mean, all three of you kids are happily married and you've got good jobs and you lived. Okay. So why are you trying to tell me this now? But not responding that way. And knowing that what they're doing now has to do with the phases that we are in, and to not look for the negative in that, but to look for the positive. They love me. They called me. They care about me. Yes. And not to take offense to that. And also to listen, because sometimes they tell me something I might have needed to hear.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much huge from our children. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, absolutely.
the
Mhm.
exchanges in
Yes.
life,
Mhm.
really, so if you can enjoy it. So yes, everybody work on finding that comfortable space
Mhm.
where you can have an
It's
adult
really all about acceptance, and that's what I work on in coaching with people, and I'm sure you do as well, Cindy, is
all
helping
the
them
time.
understand that, everything is as it should be. There's a reason for everything.
Yes,
And if you can work on accepting it and work on making the changes in you that will
yeah,
help you cope, live a big life, make those changes in you, not in the people around you, and
right, because
helping
we
people work
can't.
through that. You can't change other people. Yeah. Mhm.
Where our power lies is looking if we're uncomfortable in something
In
that's
the
going
mirror.
might be different. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, in the mirror, that's where we have to go, and it's usually the last place that we look. We start by looking around at everybody else and what they should be doing and how they should be reacting.
Yeah, it's tempting to blame and look for things outside of ourselves for sure. But
Yes.
like I talk about in my book, and I know you talk about coaching people, we must take full responsibility for our lives.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
that the only way to really be truly happy in the long run is to just really take responsibility. And of course, other people are responsible for their actions in our relationships and their words in our relationships or whatever. And in the work we're doing together, that's true, of course. But you can't do anything about other people. You can invite people to go through a process of change with you or invite them, help them to understand how to support you, love you, and ask for what you need. But ultimately we need to be responsible for what we want and need in our lives and let people be themselves,
Mhm.
our kids and
Absolutely.
everybody else. So okay,
So
so
what I guess when you ask me what's been difficult, I would say that it's been beautiful and that there's just certain days or events that might have been difficult, but I don't allow those to define this period. Those are days and events. This
yes,
part of my life is how I'm choosing to live it. It's my responsibility. And it's been fabulous and joyful.
yeah,
And, I told my kids, there's no money right now for you because I spent money on you for the last, you know, 45 years. And
yeah,
now mama's buying a horse. So I'm spending money on me and I'm doing what I want to do. And I'm spending my time riding my horse and I'll come by and visit my grandkids and do the things. But this is what I love. That's my happy place.
mhm.
So, and the kids are all, you're spending all, why are you spending all this money? Why you're spending too much
Because
time.
it's yours.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
yours to spend.
It's fine because that's what I want to do and because that's what's making me happy. So again, those might be difficult conversations, but they don't define this period where I'm living my best life,
Yeah,
where I'm doing, and I'm not, I'm no longer focused on, I have to make these kids turn out right. I have to have enough money,
mm,
all those things that you focus on in your younger years.
yes, it's so I find it very freeing not to feel responsible for my.
Yes.
I mean,
It
I
is
love them to
very
death,
freeing.
of course,
Very.
love our relationships and
Yeah.
everything. And I love not feeling responsible for them. It's such a relief, it's such an exciting, it's so
It
freeing.
is. And
Go
then
get the horse.
there's,
If you want the horse, go get the
yeah,
horse. Or
there's
whatever it
that day or moment, whatever. I don't know what it was for you, Cindy. But when you realize that, wait a minute, I'm free now. I, that I didn't think, I never thought about buying a horse before, but then I started thinking about being free. So what would you want to do? Well, I'd like to have a horse, which sounds ridiculous for a 60-year-old who hasn't ridden horses since her childhood.
Why does it sound
Yeah,
ridiculous?
what? So I baby stepped my way into it. I went and took some lessons, which is what I recommend for everybody in our age. If there's something you've been wanting to do that you never got to do because you didn't have the money or because you were too busy with the kids, this is the time. So take a baby step toward it. And if it does really give your heart joy, then take another baby step. So then I leased a horse to see if this is really what I want to do. And then I bought a horse, and then
Hmm,
that horse died.
I remember that actually.
Uh-huh, and that was tough because I threw myself, as I do in everything, headlong in that. But then I bought another horse because I am committed to this journey. So I made those decisions one by one in moments, but they all support the underlying goal of trusting in myself, allowing myself to look at what's on my bucket list, and
Mm,
giving myself the grace, the time, and the space to do it.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I love it. Yes.
Good, good. I
Thank you
hope
so
it's
much.
going to be something that's going to help our listeners.
Oh, of
People
course.
in your coaching
Absolutely.
group will, find a little nugget there.
I think so because I do hear it. I know some women are living like you and I are living, where they're passion based, their aging is welcome, just loving their lives, feeling fulfilled, feeling meaning in their lives. But there are a whole other set of them who are concerned it's too late for them now, that they can't change, or no, they're still not good enough, or they don't know what they want. And there is that going on too. And so yeah, I feel like that really helps, hopefully helps women to open wider to the thought
Mhm.
of really just getting connected with who they really are and what they really want, and allowing themselves that freedom. I love the word freedom. It's a
Mhm.
nice one
Yeah.
to play with in this conversation. So,
And
um,
I like that you just touched on knowing what you want. And I think at our age, that's where it starts. You have not allowed yourself to think about what you want, perhaps, for a long time. And so you don't, our lives are run 80 to 90% off habit. So you're not thinking that way. So if I ask you, what do you want? You'll probably say, I don't know. So going through the exercise of figuring out what you want is where this starts.
yes.
And then figuring out a baby step you can take to see if it really truly is something you still want. And then how do you move forward with that? But for me, it all centers on, what do you want?
Yeah, and that's so counter to how a lot of us were raised, to think there was a certain way to do life when you grew up and got out, graduate high school. Then here's the formula for
Mhm.
happiness and success. Please follow this formula. If you don't follow the formula, you're going to be in trouble. There's just this really
Yes,
ingrained belief system. I think it's gotten a lot better with
I
our
do too.
generation. I think it's opened much wider, and I think that's very exciting.
I think people like you and writing the book that you did, that the more of that that's out there, the more you are connecting with people with what you do, the deeper this will spread. And it makes me so joyful to think of that, because I want people, I know that mindset. I lived in it for a little while, and I know how much more joy I have now. And I don't want people living in that mindset. That's a sad thought to me.
Oh yeah, it's really sad. And we need everybody to be happy, healthy, vibrant, and just
Yes,
living out the fullness of
live your
who they
best life.
are, because
Mhm,
they were uniquely
mhm.
created, and
Yep.
we need them to be who they are meant to be in our world.
And
Oh, we
again, going back to balance, you talked about preconceived notions of what we should be like. Going back to that balance, for me, it is, I don't jump at my kids' beck and call to babysit or to do something.
Mhm.
I might say, I can't, I'm riding my horse. I have a horseback riding lesson. And they'll shame me for that. Okay, fine. Your
You're the
grandkids are
worst
certainly
grandma
on a new.
ever.
So again, it's knowing, kind of what my boundaries are, and saying, how I am going to spend time with my grandkids. I do want to be there when they need me, if they need someone to watch them, but I'm not that grandma. I don't come at your beck and call. I don't come every other month to visit the kids that are far away and spend all that money on airfare. I will visit the kids. I will call, but I'm not your typical grandma, and let me know if you need something, and I'll try my best to help you. But they're raising their kids. I'm there to be a support system. And maybe I do this because my mom was, in her 70s, I guess, when my kids were little.
Yeah.
And so she couldn't help me. So I didn't have any grandparents. The rest of them were deceased
Mhm.
to do the dump them off at the grandparent thing.
Yeah.
Um, and my mom started a few traditions with my kids, like she would do my grocery shopping. That was her way of showing love to me. And she'd take
Wow.
my kids, and that
Yeah.
was her time with them. And she took one kid, they rotated, and that was their time with Nana, and then she was doing something with me. So ideals like that, like if you want to, and not letting your kids dictate how you help them. I mean,
Right.
I want to do this with the grandbaby. If you give me permission, that's what I want to do. And if you
Yeah.
say no, fine, I'll ask again when they're older.
Well, yeah, I just want to clarify too. We're not saying, hey, if you're the doting grandma that
Oh, no, yeah. Because
raise
if that's
that's
what gives you joy, if when you
Mhm.
if when you look at your life, you say, I want to be there for my grandkids more than my parents, were there for my kids.
Mhm.
And that's how you want to spend your time. That's where you build up joy. That's what you should be doing. And no one should shame you for it.
Yes, exactly. What
Mhm.
you're saying is to put boundaries where you want to put them if you want to put them there.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
If your
Mhm.
adult children's vision of who and how you ought to be as a grandparent is one thing and your vision is another, it's okay to stick to your own vision of that role, whatever that is.
And it's just communicating your boundaries and your
Mhm.
wants so that you're both clear on that. For me, it would be looking at a predictive index survey for both of you, the kids and the parent, and
Grandma's
then
bringing over her survey.
and then explaining it to each other, because that allows you to actually see what you think you know up here, which is subjective, and understand how you can best parent them. What do they need? And they can understand, oh, that's why she does that. That drives me crazy. She's not doing it just to drive me crazy.
Right.
She is crazy. I can't help that. That's.
Well, we're all wired a certain way, aren't we? Not that
Yes,
we can't
yes.
change, but like you
Mhm.
said, we're a lot of our life is based on habits, all kinds of habits. And we can change those if we want, if we're aware of them and want to, but there is a lot that we repeat. And yeah, so yeah, if grandma comes walking up the sidewalk with a briefcase, she's bringing a survey.
Yeah. Oh, it's electronic, Cindy. Now you made me feel like we're on an older person podcast. Yeah, it's all done electronically. There's no briefcase, there's no snail mail, and there's no papers.
Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. I'm the one who said briefcase. So, so
Uh-huh.
I but please forgive me, everyone.
It's okay. It's okay.
So,
Love you as you are.
our time's winding down, but as you look to the future and you think, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, like what really brings you the greatest sense of peace and hope about all of it?
Knowing that I think despite all the mistakes I made, all of my kids are going to be okay, and that they're in the care of the universe and I don't have to worry about them.
Mhm.
Knowing that my circumstances as I age, if I should lose my husband, as you age, you start to find yourself going to funerals more frequently, which can
Yeah,
make you feel disconnected, alone,
yeah,
especially the last 2 years. It's intensified all of that.
yeah, for sure.
Um, and so when I think about that, I want to be really intentional about, again, giving myself rest, but also continuing to live in my joy and do the things that make me joyful, and
Mhm.
not just be, held down by beliefs or whatever.
Beautiful, beautiful. So keeping all that front and center for yourself as you go into the next phase of your life, and appreciating everything that you have and are experiencing. And yeah, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I forgot to say it in the beginning, but you and I met about 6 years ago, not quite six, because my landlord, when I moved to Lawrence, one of
Yes,
your
I
closest
forgot.
friends, Teresa Zawald, right? Should we give her a shout
Yes.
out to her? 'Cause
Uh-huh.
she better be listening, Teresa. We've got two of your people here
Mm,
sitting here together. But anyway, I've really enjoyed our friendship, Mia, and our
yeah.
connection, and that mutual mission we have to really make a difference out there and help people really step fully into who they are. So is there anything else you want to share, and or how can people contact you if they're interested in the work that you're doing?
Mhm. Easy contact, Mia, which is MEA, because I'm not missing an action. I'm right here. Those are my initials. Mary Ann Elizabeth Austin. Now you'll never forget it. Mea, M-E-A, at meaaustin.com. Just reach out to me if there's anything that I said that interests you, and I'd be happy to give you more information.
Awesome. Well, once again, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. So
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you and your group, and I love watching your videos, and I pop in on your live Facebook sometimes and see what people are commenting and listen.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope we bump into each other again sometime soon.
Yeah,
Here in the
sooner than,
world.
yeah.
Nice.
We will. I'm sure we will. And I thank you. I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening today. I
Yeah.
hope you took in all the juicy nuggets that
How many
Mea-
listeners did we wind up with?
I think 400 million or something like that.
I'll take it, Cindy. 400 million.
No,
Probably
I don't know.
share that number with other people, but yeah.
It's a relatively new podcast. We're
Yeah.
growing. So with that
Uh-huh.
thought in mind, yes, please share if you feel
Yes.
value in this podcast for yourself and you know someone else who might benefit from these conversations that we're having. Please invite them to follow and subscribe. And I appreciate all of you so much out there. And if you want to contact me about anything, go to cindydwhitmer.com and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.